Hello, good morning. Sorry for the poor light. No, you can barely make out my face. It's all washed out, but it's a nice backdrop. I've I've not I've not really been able to think about this live stream. I normally give some direction I'm gonna aim to go in, as much as it doesn't always happen. But today I just know the importance and need to make a live stream for what the purpose of what I make live streams for. Today's going to be a little therapy session. I need to talk out my mind because it's it hit a wall today. It really did hit a wall. I broke down. After, I won't go into what happened that distracted me thereafter. But essentially I came away now and I'm sitting here and it's like everything's rosy. I've got rose-coloured spectacles on and it's making everything seem fantastic. And it's like if I had that childlike perspective to life, I'd be relishing this. I'd be like, the problems, what problems? You know, the present moment, man. It's just like, it's not great, but the sun's out. And I'm here at a boat. I'm getting on with a project. If anybody knows me, I live for projects. And it's all manageable. It's DIY. It's like what's in my blood. And also, it's manageable DIY. I grumble with DIY when it's beyond me. But if it's within my limits, I really enjoy it. So everything should be nice. And I've just had the mechanic come to look at the engine, and you don't often see people with disabilities like he was missing a hand from one arm. What I'm trying to say is what I broke down for today wasn't a touch on what troubles me, where my life really is at, because I'm sitting here and everything's rosy. And I know I've just tuned in this morning to the reality of my life, the reality, because this isn't reality what I'm experiencing now. I don't know how to digest it. I don't know how to experience it. I don't know how to live it, because I know it's a lie. And unfortunately, my life has presented me a circumstance where I just can't be present with life at the moment. It's like all right, my mind's gone back to normal. I'm struggling with analogies, but imagine it like, so where am I? It's just like, imagine your home, yeah? It gets messy, it gets tidy, it gets messy, it gets tidy. There's what life is asking me to do right now is become egotistical. Under the carpet, it's asking me to push it all into the cupboards, squeeze it all into the drawers, and we're talking about mass amounts of rubbish. For what purpose? To adopt an ego, to show a house that's pretty. And it's a bit like that with my life. It's like, it's asking me to be in the present moment, just enjoy the prettiness. And it's not a case of like not enjoying the prettiness, but it's a case of I swept all that rubbish under the carpet, I squeezed it all into the cupboards, and I packed it all into the drawers. And I know that that's there for me. On one hand, everything is pretty in the house, everything is tidy, and that's something that goes a long way a lot of the time, just seeing myself. The problem is like, in terms of finding anything, if you need to go for a drawer, if you need to go into a cupboard, it makes life impossible to live. Not only that, how much can you rest and enjoy that prettiness and really let it give what it should be able to give when you know it's a lie, because you've got a mountain of work to tidy up the drawers. And you're sitting there and you're looking at the prettiness and you're like, yeah, this is what I wanted to see, this is what I wanted to see. And in the back of your mind, you can't really take it in because you're just thinking, I've done this mad thing to my life. And when I say I've done this mad thing, I'm in the analogy. It's more a case it's been put upon me. That's how I view it, from my ignorance as a human being. It's all my responsibility at some high spiritual level, but let's stick to the analogy. And in the back of your mind, you're thinking, I've got to tidy all of that stuff away. What happens in 2 days' time when I need to do this, that, and the other, and I need to have access to my things? It's not really a means to heal. It's not really practical unless you're very, very specific to say, I haven't seen prettiness, I haven't seen this house pretty for 2-3 years, and you know what? Fuck it. What's kept me with a messy house for 2-3 years is madness in itself. And I succumb to it and I say I'm weak to the madness that encompasses my life, and I need to see prettiness in my own fucking home. And you take it on. You say to yourself, right, I'm going to do this mad thing, I'm going to see prettiness, and I'm going to deal with the consequences on the other side. And that's a very, very specific use case. Otherwise, it's a case of, what the fuck are we doing? What the fuck am I doing? And it's a bit like that, this specific medication. I've come home and it's like, wow, this house is pretty, man. But I know what it's taken to get there, because I know the mess is hidden in the house. I know it's a lie. I have no control I didn't put all that mess away. Believe me, if you're that pissed off with your home because you haven't seen prettiness, when you shovel that rubbish under the carpet, into the cupboards, into the drawers, there's an awareness there that goes beyond time. It's like you're making millions and millions of decisions in a second because you sat there and lived over that rubbish for years, and you know that rubbish inside out. You know where all that rubbish is, you know what has use, you know what is actually rubbish. And when you're pushing it away, you're like, right, this segment here, I just don't need to care about. Fuck it, I won't need this for years. This rubbish here, right, it's gone in the cupboard. Right, this rubbish here. And you do it unconsciously. There's no like mass amounts of alert thinking. It's like you're so pissed off looking at the same rubbish. You know that rubbish in your home. And then comes the time to take on this mad task for healing. There's an awareness about on that rubbish beyond time, beyond an understanding. And I'm really suffering the last medication because I know my life. I know these moments of prettiness come and go, with or without medication. And I know what I normally give to experience these moments of prettiness, and I just can't absorb it right now. And other effects, the detrimental effects of having a pretty home when you didn't really need a pretty home. You needed a functional home. You needed that rubbish to be just stacked anywhere in the middle of the floor if need be, just so you could know where all that rubbish is. Because you hadn't got to the point where you just like accepted the sickness of life and humbled yourself to it, to act in a sick way to make your home pretty. No, you're still fighting the sickness, and you're still on a more practical level rather than resorting to madness. And I can't take it on board this time, and that is hurting even more. I know I'm looking at prettiness. I know my eyes are looking round and the sun's beaming in, and it's like I've got projects and I've got all of these things, and I'm like, they don't have worth anymore, man. My mental health has drummed it into me what to appreciate in this life, and I'm at war with how I need to be there, and I'm autistic anyway. What I'm trying to say is, as a child I would have lived for this, for the prettiness. I would have been like, fuck it, man, whatever problem I've got, it's no point. I've got life. There's prettiness, there's projects, let's go on, let's live. But I've been on a learning course over the course of my mental health, and that is my life has taken a different turn that I could never have imagined. A mental health disorder puts my mind in a different place, puts my life in a different place. And what I've learned and experienced through my mental health is that something different. And in the moment, I've got a decision to make. What do you want to do, Andreas? What makes sense? What's the best thing for everything? given what you're presented with right now? Do you resort to that childhood innocence and just live life? Or do you look at yourself and see that you've got a beard that's going white, that you're 35, that you have... Yeah, you've got a mental health disorder, and as adults come, you're pretty much at the bottom, which makes you a child anyway, but you're an adult, and you have to act responsibly. So where my outward responsibility to the world is limited because of my mental health, and it's an inversion, my responsibility to the world, because I'm a disturbance to the world as a result of my mental health. As I said, my appearance, I'm a constant mess. I'm unable to keep myself tidy. I'm unable to keep my my dress sense as on point as I always have. I look like a mess, like a hobo sometimes, and I just accept it. If anybody knew me from my years before, I worked in retail for years. It was one of the first things that I did as a teenager was get into clothes. It's very important to me, being on point. I remember turning up at school teacher evening in a shirt, tucked in shirt and hair slicked back. That was me, on point with my appearance. However it was, just be on point with it. And I'm on point with it at the moment, but I look like a hobo because it's the best I can do. And I smell. I know my hygiene is terrible. I mean, my hands, like, well, they're not actually that bad, but it's taken a few days of sweat to clean them off. Sweaty palms. I think it's best that well, it's not even I think, it is best to really keep on board the lessons my mental health has taught me, because the lessons they've taught are more serious than I could have ever imagined. And I'd rather have safety to my mental health rather than a pretty house, unless absolutely needed. I won't go into, it was about sleep again, basically. It was about sleep again. And I don't dream. When I sleep, I don't dream, and I've been having dreams for the past year, and I've been tormented by them because I don't want dreams. I don't like dreams. It just feels like somebody else is in my consciousness, and it really repels me because I don't feel safe with any other person. But this dream was nice. It was like, again, project-based. It was like boat-based. It was like I found this boat, and I went to see it to rent it out or something. I was like, it's okay. And I went back, and it was like, where it was only like a small portion, it's like this boat ended up being like an ocean liner. It was huge. I was like, whoa, all this space, what? Now I can do this with it, I can do that with it. Oh, but there's a problem with the boat. Oh, the problem's gone away. We can still rent it. So it was a nice dream in a way. And I woke up to my problem. And that's the purpose of the title. I didn't know what else to speak. But as I said, also the mechanics just arrived. Well, arrived, and he came with one arm. And I'm really hesitant to put down my problems too much. As much as it must sound like I am, I know to keep things in perspective, because what I'm complaining about is bad on one sense. But then you get people with lives where they're limbless. The Paralympics are going on now, aren't they? Can you imagine not having legs, or not having arms, or some other disability? It's like, fuck, my arms are like everything, man. I can't imagine not having my vision. I've had vision problems over the past 2 years, and it's like, if I was to live life without vision, I mean, you'd learn, but the beauty of the present moment, especially when it's extra emphasized, is gutting to have it taken away, isn't it? Can you imagine being blind? And it's like, on perspective of having your hands chopped off, on perspective of losing my vision, it's like, I know I could get my life in check. Nothing is worth that, is it? And my problems are insignificant, and as long as I've got hindsight to a worse reality, I can get on with it. And that's a level of consciousness in itself. And I've sort of been pushed down that road over the past half a year to really explore that, and I've really crumbled as a human being. I'm really weak. I haven't got any emphasis to life. I don't believe that's the right mentality to have. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I don't know the right mentality to have to the world, but in innocence, I think my problem isn't acceptable. And it's a case of, if I suck it up because of a worse life, I'm just going to be a pressure pot on, waiting to explode from my own problems. Because my problems are still here, and they're still real, and they're still valid. And all I need to say to myself is, right, Andreas, you've got problems here. I know you put a human being here with the mentality of like a warrior, mentality of a fighter, somebody who just lives for that. This would be nothing, man. They'd find a way. They'd take on the world before they start crying like I do. But all I have to ask myself is this acceptable for any human being? But it depends, isn't it? It's not the action. The action can be justified. It's the purpose, it's the reason why. Why is it happening? And where I don't know why it's happening, all I know is I'm experiencing it. I could be like this forever, innit? And in that sense, there is no lesson. There's no point in me saying I'm going to put you through this living hell, and you're like, okay, why are you going to do that? I go, oh, I can't tell you. Right. So you start experiencing the living hell, and you're like, okay, it's not nice, but it's for a lesson, it's for a lesson, And then you're experiencing the same living hell, and you're like, when's it going to end? Is it going to end? He said he's going to put me through a living hell. He wasn't clear about the constraints. Is it forever? Am I going to be here forever? You start to ask yourself these ideas. And unfortunately, with my understanding of reality, this isn't acceptable. I'm sorry, spirituality. You work wrong. You work on a basis that we trust in you, and we should, but unfortunately, I've got about 7 miles of concrete, tarmac, electric pylons, a few parks, houses, and God knows how many people in all directions that say, you know what, we don't listen like that anymore. There's a vibrational, I don't know how spirit enters reality, but it can't be through vibration, because spirit would have felt the vibration of reality, and it hasn't. So it's not through sound. Spirit doesn't enter through sound. Nor does it enter through density, nor does it enter through energy. Spirit is a force of itself. Must be a force to itself. What's the bridge between reality and spirituality? I'm done as a human being. My life has maxed me out. I'm pathetic as a human being. On my last admission to hospital, one of the staff, she reminded me of Akhenaten. On a spiritual level, I saw her and she reminded me of Akhenaten. I believe she's likely the reincarnation of Akhenaten, or has some strong lineage of a connection to him. To be clear, that means she's a wise person. As far as I'm aware, Akhenaten is the tallest person of our lineage, which means he's the wisest person that has the last wisest person to have walked the face of the earth. And I was irate because of the way I was being treated by the NHS, that my screams of pain weren't being heard. And as I said, I was taught to go into hysteria on this admission because I was just ignored. The pain was ignored. And where I learnt hysteria, it was in this moment, you know. It was like, I snapped. I stood in front of her. I mean, it was through plexiglass. She was in the office. And I looked her in the eye and I couldn't understand how somebody so wise, and she's a nice person, you can see, you can feel her energy, and she's tall. She's tall now. And her energy is clean. You can tell that on some level she's done some work in this life, or she's just with it. But she's there. She's been paid to look after monkeys like me. And there's a big contradiction with her employment to her wisdom, from my perspective. Not only is there a contradiction between her employment to her wisdom, but also what I was allowed to be put through. For whatever message, for whatever reason, that experience was allowed by the individuals, the staff at the hospital. I don't know their thinking, because they're nice people normally, the staff. And I can't understand the change in approach to me. And it was around the time when I was breaking, you know. I was breaking from physical pain. Like I couldn't, I don't remember that, but it must have been. It's not, it's under immense pain and immense stress from illogical systems that that have society based upon them, and they're not doing what they're meant to do. At a time when I'm out of human empathic connection also being severed, seemed, for some reason. It just seemed like the empathic connection between staff had been severed. So I looked her in the eye, and you just imagine somebody just like blood boiling over in pain. Literally, they're insane. The experience is unbelievable. Like the pain's been building and building for like a year, and you're in the place where you should be getting help. You took yourself to hospital because, yeah, as much as you don't want to be taking those antipsychotics, you've got no choice there in the community, because you're causing so much distress because of the noise. Administer yourself, admit yourself for your mind, because they just don't pick up anything when you go for the body to A&E. So you have to go and admit yourself to your for your mind. And then in hospital, you're not given the care that you should be given, the reason that you took yourself to hospital. And you're breaking as a human being on all levels. And I stood there and I thought, what the fuck am I doing? Let's play up. Let's give some energy to this idea that this person is Akhenaten, because I've got nothing to lose. I've given every ounce of energy to normality and sanity and reason in this world, and it just doesn't work. I've got nothing to lose. And the instinctive words that came out my mouth were, "We are pathetic." Now, I sang it like a fucking football chant. We are pathetic. Hand banging on chest movements as well. And I said it over and over. And I was irate in pain, so I was blood boiling over in me. But as a species, if I can be allowed to experience this, because of us, including me, then we are fucking pathetic. I forget why I shared that story. But I didn't even really touch on my problems today, and I broke down. The smallest amount of reality came back, and I broke down, and that's reality. That's reality, man. That's where life is, you know. It's not pleasant. I look at what I have in my life, the contacts I have, how, and it says, this isn't rosy. I want to wrap this up somehow. There's no point continue. That's where I'm at. It just feels like one of those moments when I take stock and account of all the things I have in my life, and I realise, and life has tried to tell me this once or twice, and it normally means it's a sign to surrender to what I'm fighting. Given my mental health past, the experience of my mental health, that's what I'm trying to say. I normally see this as like the final stages of when I should surrender. And the normal surrendering is to take myself to hospital. Unfortunately, on the last admission, it was made clear that that isn't the place to surrender, because it just makes it worse. That's what the last admission. You keep doing this, you keep bringing yourself back here when you're broken at those times, and you don't want to be here. It's the last place on earth you want to be. We'll make it a living hell for you so we can break that cycle for you. So I don't know what to do. It's like, I've got a flat that, beyond a few irate neighbours that want my blood because of how I destroy their lives, and none of that is really shown to me. It's just me understanding what it must be like to live next to an insane person making the noise I make. I have a tiny boat here that, in all intensive purposes, is unimaginable for me to live in anymore, as much as I would have given my right kidney for something like this a couple of years back. My health has degraded that much. But it's a project, you know, it's still something like, I've got painting to do. Wow, I haven't painted in a long time. And it's the last thing, the painting. It's like, I get a kick out of projects, as I said, and like the last few things, when it starts to come together and you can see it, it makes everything worthwhile. And all it needs really is a lick of paint here, a little few tidy ups, and it's finished. It's ready to sell, it's ready to make money, it's ready to pump this life full of some sort of lubrication in terms of finances and problems off my mind. As much as there's no reason why this shouldn't be life and enjoyable in the first instance, and I'm aware of that. There's nothing about this project that should have been stressful, and that's why I could have sold the boat earlier for a fraction, just to have it as a stress off my head. But I've looked at it and I'm like, yeah, it's stressful, but everything here I should be able to enjoy. I know, even if I was to boil all of those three elements, the flat, the boat I'm moving on to, and this boat I'm selling, down to one, and I'm like, right, I've just moved on to my boat, I've moved out of my flat, the other boat's sold, my problems are still going to be there. So if I've got something enjoyable to do, that doesn't make sense not to turn it away, because it's just life, isn't it? And it should be enjoyable. I know people live a lot worse than what I'm complaining about, and they hold their chin up, they put a face onto the world, and they get on with it. I need to let go of attachments. It is the only way I can function. But to let go of attachments, I've got to look at taking medication. And then it's like, you know, if you've got all of these, if non-attachment is down here, and you're like, oh, okay, let's come down this wall. I can't even see the camera. Let's come down all the way down to non-attachment. Let's keep my feet on the ground. And I'm on my feet on the ground, and I'm like, yeah, but down here, it's almost a cast iron guarantee. I need to be taking medication, so there's no safety on this level. And it's like, I come down, whoa, let's go back up. I'm really broken, man. I want out. I want out. I call it, I'm pathetic. I call it, this shouldn't be life for anybody. Yeah, I need to, I'm realising I need to surrender. So what am I fighting? Because the truth is, I'm fighting for life. I'm fighting for life. I'm trying to fight for nothing, for non-depression. In other words, just don't see the world for the don't live depression the world demands of us. Just hold it in mind as a reality. But where I am, it's just like, I don't know how that has to be other than to be depressed to it, you know? Like those alcoholic hobos that have experienced life to such a level, they're just like, fuck this, man. What do I need a house for? Life calls for constant intoxication. The world calls for that. How real are we? I'm here with a fucking project and I'm looking forward to move on a boat. The world calls for depression. I don't know how to surrender. Life is saying surrender, and I'm saying to surrender, I'm just going to sit here for the next 3 days straight smoking, and that'll be my life. I can't move if I'm honest. I just want to go home and cook in the kitchen. That's all I want to do, man. I want to be a child, man. I'm sick of reality. I can't look at life anymore. I can't bear society, man. Because I come into the loop and it's like, well, society fucks me on the level in the first instance. I have a mental health disorder. I all the time. Society fucks me. And then it turns around to me and says, but don't feel sorry for yourself, Andreas, because we also fuck these people over here. And these people over here, we fuck them a lot more. And these people over here, nature fucks a lot more. And these people over here, spirituality fucks a lot more. So yeah, we fuck you. We fuck you so good that life has no point. But because we also fuck these people, and these people, and these people, you can't feel sorry for yourself. So you have to carry on like a robot. And these people down here that we fuck it so much, because they're down here, they're always looking up here. And because they don't understand the sickness and the shitness of the people up here, they always aspire to it. They can't not. Can you imagine being born in this world with nothing? Your life, where you can live with nothing by nature, is just fucked because of society. And you're like, what do I do? Well, This world functions on money. This world functions on information. This world functions on this, that, and the other. Right, let's become society. My life hurts because my eyes see. My life hurts because I have a pressure pot mentality to life. I can't lie to myself, and as much as I can claim nice ideas in pursuit of healing and health, massive changes in mentality in an instant, so to speak, if they don't come from the right place, they create a pressure pot. And that pressure pot can last a long time. And I might not explode for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Who knows, maybe even longer. And I don't know on what level we're being fucked over, man. I really can't say if it's ignorance as a result of coming together after millennia individualized, where we're coming together now as a world, as a community. And this is just the mess that we've gone through, that we're still holding through until things get into check. If there's some secret overlords of planet Earth that are willing to fuck us, well, I'm looking up at the sky and I'm saying, look, I'm highlighting the problem here. Top me, please. I can't take any more of what you've created. As much as I talk about secret services all the time, and I can't believe that the problem lies there. Well, secret services have a mass amount of people working for them. And I can't believe that all of those people would get sucked into an evil plan, an evil idea for the planet. And I can also believe that secret services, with all the fucking wise technology out there, haven't foreseen the problem of our greed and modern life. So it must be aliens, isn't it? Must be some sort of alien race that's caused our fuck up. What we're doing as a best resort to being invaded by whatever. The sickness is unparalleled, and I really think I'm just going to stop. I don't know if it'll be here. I don't know if it'll be at the flat. I don't know if it'll be at the boat. But I'm gonna stop. And I'm gonna sit down. Because at the moment, sitting's unpleasant, standing's unpleasant, walking's unpleasant. And I'm just gonna smoke because I don't know what else to do. I smoke because of my mental health. That's why I started smoking. It first happened when I began to get unpleasant sensations. And I started to smoke because I didn't understand life with these sensations. And then again, I upped the ante when my mental health became too much for me, and I realised if I just chain smoke, at least I'm distracting myself, and at least I can just focus on something and get through the day. So it's half a habit, but it's distracting myself in the present moment of sitting down, how unpleasant sitting is. And it's the same philosophy. I just chain smoke my way through the next 3-4 days, pass out whenever my wake up and continue smoking. I don't know what else to do. What I think my job is to do in this life is to communicate to us here, more at the top of the suffering, the inadequacies of this world, because I know it's easy to get lost in different ideas, especially when you've got the fucking law of attraction out there. What I'm trying to say is, you know, we should be relying on the spiritual ones, and they've got the law of attraction there as the main, one of the main teaching points, you know. Let's go to a spiritual talk. You're almost guaranteed the law of attraction is there. What's the law of attraction? Get what you want, innit? Who's universal ordering for a fucking better planet? I think that's what my job is, because if you're any further below me, us, in the world, you're always going to strive for the top. We're here at the top. You've got a few places in the world that will claim the top. California, New York, London, the big cities. If you haven't lived in a big city, there's always going to be an urge to go to a big city because of more chances. But once you're in the big cities at the top of the world, where all the wealth is, the affluence, and life fucks you at that level, you don't have to think about going lower, do you? Well, you've got the option of substance abuse, but I have that from my teens, and the way I went about it was, so my substance abuse has been there and is in my past, but because it's in my past, I know its benefits and I know its drawbacks. And because I'm all about health, and because my life is so dependent upon me being responsible there. Think about it, if I started becoming an alcoholic and then had problems, I'd always be under pressure to deal with my alcoholism. Because whatever I say, I can't foresee a healthy alcoholic. You can foresee. I mean, if it's abuse, it's just going to be pretty much a detriment to the body. Full stop. Whatever you do. So I can't really do that because I need my body in tip-top shape as best as I can put it in to handle all the different stresses. But where I have this perspective, and I won't drop it any lower out of choice. And I'm here, and I'm steady in my experience of this world. I think it's to communicate that to the people that this world values. And the people that this world values are those with some sort of wealth, really. And I don't mean like mass amounts of wealth, but if you've got some sort of income, we can live off next to nothing in terms of food and water and still maintain a good diet. And believe me, if you've got £50 spare a week because you take your £75 benefits money and you're wise with it and you spend it £25 on food and water, real humble diet, but it's healthy. It's healthier than 99% of the people on the planet. And you've got your life simplified and in check, and you're £50 spare. Believe me, that's more than most people on the planet. Because a lot of people are in debt. They're slaves. So I need to be speaking to the people that have £50 spare a week. Think about it. If you're anywhere below in this world, you haven't got a £5 spare a week. You haven't got £1 spare a week. £1 will feed you for a month. To a certain extent, some places. That's probably not too far off. So, you know, with £50 spare a week, you can have just as much power as that man with credit cards and a massive mortgage that's able to borrow money and buy things. I need to be speaking to both of the people, the one with the power and the credibility within society to fuck themselves in a different way, all the way to the people with the ability to save some money because they are on benefits. And I appreciate that's not. You got other bills on top of that, and I know life will take that £75 because it's not a lot. Not in society here. It's nothing. I mean, you shouldn't be expected to live off £75. You have to take on a lot of focus and stress to manage that £75 wisely. I don't have that at present. I don't have that at present. Not without it being forced on me. But I'm aware of that. But it's for me to communicate to you because it's easy to get lost at this world has purpose, this world has value, this life has value. For all the spiritual ideas and lessons and workshops, there's something amiss. You know, there's a big jump, there's a big gap. Because none of it does the thing, does it? Unless you're there on a compassionate level, working for all of humanity, spirituality is just wishy-washy. Fanciful ideas of how else we can masturbate in this world. How else can we masturbate through life? I've got wishy-washy spiritual ideas now. There's a huge importance, there's a huge pressure on all of us right now to see the problem at hand. I don't really know what to add, you know. Do we fix this? How do we fix this problem? What do I say to people? We've got to cut back. We've got to spend more. We've got to do this. We've got to suffer. We've got to not suffer. We've got to. And it's not for me to say, because I'm too stressed. I'm too trapped. I'm too beaten, and I'm saying this is the situation. This is my job. This is the situation of planet Earth 2021, and the woman's just finished feeding the ducks some bread. Maybe that's a sign. Let's try and use that as an analogy. I'm so lost. Because as I said, I'm reliant upon people to hear what the 4 views I get, the 6 views I get, the 8 views I might get, and make a positive change to the entire world. It's not going to happen. So I'm doing, and I guess I've got to do my job even better. I've got to continue to get this message out there, because in absolute honesty, like David Icke states in his work, I can't change the world, but I've got a message that can change the world. Well, that's a bit like me too. I can't do any more, you know. I'm fucked. So to all the people out there that are at the top of the pyramid, with a little bit more space in their life, maybe. And when I say space in your life, I mean, unless you've got children, because I can't imagine it's ever an easy task to prioritize anything above children. it would be to say, you have the power. You have the power to change the world in your space. Let's not call it luxury, just circumstance. You have space now. And what will happen is, if you decide to take on and hear this message, that space will quickly disappear with problems as a result of what I've stated. When you take on the problems of the world, that space is going to disappear. But like something a CBT therapist said to a CBT group I went to, we need warriors. We need fighters. Fuck knows what he was talking about. I wasn't fond of him. But do what you want with it, man. We need fighters. I don't know if that means sit down and meditate. Do what you see right. You have the power.